Today, I will be going over the 2 new artifact sets coming to Genshin 3.6. I will be breaking down whether it's worth it for you to be spending your resin and time on grinding the new domain based on the current characters it'll be useful for. I will also compare it to current artifact options as well to help you decide on if these sets are worth it to you. Alright, so the first set we're looking at is the Nymph set. Its 2-piece effect is Hydro damage bonus plus 15%. Simple effect, it's the same as Heart of Depth. But its 4-piece effect is, after normal charged and plunging attacks, elemental skills and elemental bursts hit opponents. 1 stack of Mirrored Nymph will be triggered, lasting 8 seconds. When under the effect of 1, 2, 3 or more Mirrored Nymph stacks, attack will be increased by 7, 16 or 25%, and Hydro damage bonus will be increased by 4, 9 or 15%. Mirrored Nymph stacks created by normal, charged and plunging attacks, elemental skills and elemental bursts exist independently. So this set is obviously really good for a Hydro DPS character with fast-paced skill dropping and rotations. So for such reasons, a set like this seems to be a natural fit for a character like Child. It does appear to even be slightly better than Heart of Depth if you line up the buffs. Keep in mind, to gain the buffs, the stacks are gained independently, so you should start near an enemy when using your initial elemental skill to hit the opponent. That way you gain your first stack and all you have to do is complete a normal attack and charge attack and you're all good. I do want to stress the fact though, that this isn't a huge upgrade for Child, so if there are other characters you still haven't built yet, this one wouldn't be on the top of the list for me. As for Ayato, I think this is probably just a bait set, as building the stacks with him might not come as easy as it would for Child. It's not terrible per se, but I wouldn't recommend it. Instead, just stick with Gladiators, Heart of Depth, or a mixture of the two. Or instead, if you have good ping, just use Echoes for him. As you can see, this artifact set has a very narrow use case at the moment, due to the conditions that it takes to build the stacks and the playstyle it encourages. This is in stark contrast to a set like Emblem of Severed Fates, which is a Swiss Army knife in comparison. If you haven't farmed the Emblem domain instead, by the way, I'd say it's one of the highest value domains, and is even best in slot for some of the most renowned Hydro DPS damage dealers, such as Shinshu or Yalan, since they excel at off-field DPS and gain a lot of damage from their bursts in particular. Alright, now moving on to the Vourukasha's Glow artifact set. Its 2-piece effect is HP plus 20%, which is the same as Tenacity of the Millilith, which generally isn't a great effect on its own for 2-piece effect. While its 4-piece effect is elemental skill and elemental burst damage will be increased by 10%. After the equipping character takes damage, the aforementioned damage bonus is increased by 80% for 5 seconds. This effect can have up to 5 stacks. The duration of each stack is counted independently. These effects can be triggered even when equipping character is not on the field. Now, obviously the 4-piece for this set was made with Dia in mind, but is it good for her? If you're looking for the highest damage count per screenshot for the internet, it is the best, but not by a considerable amount, or at least until C4. But if you want to use her in a way with consistent rotations, you're going to want to be using the Emblem of Severed Fates set, due to her high burst cost and her low energy generation. This way you can have more burst uptime, and it makes up for the reduced damage within a single burst. The 4-piece set is unlikely to be good for many characters in the future, unless they, like Dia, are constantly taking damage for some reason, and have HP scaling effects. I think it should be recognized though, that if we did have a character who self-inflicts damage, and has higher base attack than Dia, then the 4-piece effect could very easily become amazing. But just because the 4-piece is currently a bust, doesn't mean that the 2-piece set is entirely useless, as it could have a few different use cases. Firstly, there is the argument that this domain is fine if you're building Nilou, as you could at the very least give her the 2-piece to replace Tenacity of the Millilith's 2-piece, if you don't currently have any good substats on those. But then again, if you're farming a domain with only one target character in mind, and it's only for a 2-piece effect, it's probably not worth it. Hear me out though, if you're a bit of a memer, you can grab the 2-piece effect of this, and 2-piece effect of Tenacity of the Millilith, and go for the 40% HP increase. This could technically give you the highest HP possible Zhongli, with an extra thick shield. But it's probably not worth it, since you're missing out on the 20% attack buff, as well as the 30% shield buff which would occur anyway. In a nutshell, to conclude this video, The Nymph's Dream set 4-piece only really seems to be effective for Child at the moment, and the Vourukasha's Glow set is not the best in slot for any character at the moment, including Dia, the character who this set was designed around. The 2-piece effects in these sets can be used to replace other 2-piece effects like Heart of Depths and Tenacity, but it's not a compelling reason to start farming this domain instead. I'd say don't start spending your resin yet, but do keep in mind that these sets are most likely made with future characters in mind, as there are not many characters who currently seem to work well with them at the moment. I would recommend you hold off farming right now until we see exactly who these new artifacts are made for. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy my other video on if the standard banner is getting worse. Thanks for watching.